You're listening to Podcast BXN,
a video game podcast
delivering player experience news.
Let's go!
Welcome to episode 127, people. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. All right, we're here. Let's go. I am your host, Gage Dempster, aka at Gilbo Biggins on Twitter. I am joined by Daniel the Manual at Dana's DTM on Twitter. Joined by the ever beautiful, ever broken-hearted Christian Asias on Twitter at ISO Christian, the man who is always trying to find love, and the Nintendo aficionado Rashan, the man at Rallo on Twitter.
I love how mine is just the regular.
All right, gamer boys, gamer girls, and gamers that don't fit into that spectrum, we have got a lot to talk about today. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, ManMeat. ManMeat is a website where you can go and they will send you the human equivalent of whatever meat you want. So use the code podcastpxn at manmeat.com.
Is this a thing?
And
I'm not going to search it up, actually. Never mind.
I'm already Googling. Oh, God. Man-made barbecue.
Oh, wow.
see, I wasn't lying.
How'd you
So-
get the sponsors?
The topic of the show today, ladies and gentlemen, is Call of Duty. Looks like things are looking to shake up now that Xbox is in the process of acquiring Activision Blizzard. But we're going to talk about that more at the end for the topic of the show. So we're going to be discussing Call of Duty and the changes that are happening, that seem to be happening, and what other changes we might look forward to in the future. But first, it's the news of the week, and we always start with quick bites. So we've got quite a few quick bites today. First off is Ubisoft. So they've recently confirmed their plans. It looks like this was a picture. So this is coming from Jeff Keighley on Twitter. It looks like it's a screen grab of maybe an investor slideshow or something like that. But it looks like Ubisoft has confirmed its plans to release the following games between April 2022 and April 2023, which is Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which I'm curious about, Mario and Rabbids: Spark of Hope, and Skull and Bones, which, from my understanding, they have a contractual obligation to the country of Singapore, which is why that game has not been canceled yet, which is interesting.
Is that true?
Yes, I am. Yeah,
I can't tell with you.
That's what I've. No. What's the joke? What's the punchline? They have some sort of contractual obligation to Singapore. There's some sort of thing that I don't know what's going on with that. But anybody excited for any of these games? I mean, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. I mean, the fact that that game is being made in Snowdrop, I think it has the potential to be like a visual showcase, like sort of game where, regardless of how it plays, regardless of the critical reception, it could be one of those games where it's like, holy crap, this looks amazing.
Yeah. But that game got announced late last year, and it's already going to be fitted into this time window of, middle of this year to the middle of next year. That is insane. I didn't know that game was that far along, or what it's going to look like. So I'm very cautious about Avatar, let alone Skull and Bones, which just has been, I don't know, not dead per se, but in limbo for years.
Yeah.
Mario and Rabbids is the only one I'm yes, that one looks like it's ready to go in the next year. And then more exciting games. We'll see.
We'll see.
Right. More exciting games. So that's the other part. Does anybody? I mean, we can move on if you want, but does anything jump out? Do you guys think anybody knows?
So please.
Yes.
True. But before April 2023, do you think?
Probably not.
No way. Yeah.
Yeah. The only ones that I could think of are those Ubisoft originals that just seem to have also disappeared, like Division Heartland. I think there was something else as well, but they stopped
about
talking
Yarny?
about those. Yarny.
Unraveled, sorry.
Yeah.
Was that
yeah.
Ubisoft's original?
That was EA.
Oh, but they should do it. They should do a.
That was EA, wasn't it?
They should do like a dark spinoff that's just called Yarny. You know what I mean? Like, as it focuses on the character, it's a character piece. Also, real quick before I forget, can I get? We have a diehard fan who listens to every episode, Glenn. Can I get the time at which it took for Dan's face to get red and for him to cover his face? I want to know. I'm trying to go for a high score here, so I want to know how quickly into this episode that happened.
And how many times it
It
happened?
was 2 seconds. It was
Yeah.
2 seconds.
It was, yeah. But I want to know the exact timestamp. Moving on. Sorry, Christian, go ahead.
No, it's please.
Don't forget
Okay.
Brenty's in the chat too.
Brenty is also in the chat. Let's see.
Hi, Brenty.
Have a good one, fellas. Brenty, you have yourself a good one.
Up the
Yes,
Reds,
sir.
Brenty, please.
EA admits Battlefield 2042 didn't reach player expectations, partially blames COVID and Halo Infinite's stealth release. So there was a internal report that made its way, that became external report. And yeah, it's quite, I don't know how I feel about this. I kind of feel like people are taking this and running with it, and this is coming from somebody who enjoys Halo Infinite and did not enjoy Battlefield 2042. So if anything, my bias should be the other way. But there was a small excerpt where they mentioned that the stealth release of Halo Infinite, launching 4 days before Battlefield 2042, certainly didn't do it any favors because of the level of polish and the difference between those two games. I personally thought this was a pretty candid report, and I don't think that is the main reason that the game failed. I think that they're just mentioning that on top of everything else. But yes, Christian, what would you like to say?
Okay, let me go first before Dan pops out, because I know this boy's about to pop off. So ready? Personally, this is just as funny as I don't see it in here, so I'm gonna say it now. This is just as funny as Square coming out and saying Guardians was a disappointment. It's like, what are we talking about? Guardians is great. Like EA is blaming COVID and Halo Infinite for its poor reception, knowing full and well that the fan base when they previewed it was like, hey, there are a bunch of stuff missing from this game. It is not like it's ready to go. We need like X, Y, and Z to be in this game for it to be like in a shippable state, like for people to receive it well. And then EA being like, whatever, it's gonna be out anyway. Confounds me.
Yeah,
I cannot understand this.
Yeah, like you're saying, Christian, they're framing this as if COVID and Halo Infinite were, reasons for why it didn't succeed, but in reality, it didn't succeed because they didn't delay the game to give it more time. So, yeah.
I agree, Christian. It was a radical departure from a lot of gameplay mechanics were radical departure from what Battlefield used to do and from what fans wanted, and they got that feedback and they chose to ignore it, and that's exactly what happens. I don't, but I see a lot of people saying that they're trying to blame Halo Infinite. I feel like that was a small part of the report, but it certainly is true. Like Halo came out 4 days before and was infinitely more polished, so it obviously didn't make it look good. But that's on top of the fact of all the mistakes that they made, design choices, and the higher ups, I'm sure, trying to get that game out the door for the holiday rush, even though it wasn't ready. So
it's funny that like most Battlefield players know that like the best time to buy a Battlefield game is a year after release, once it's actually like in a polished state.
Right.
And Infinite was definitely not different.
And to be fair, like Infinite, Infinite isn't perfect either. Like it has problems and it probably should have been delayed as well, but like the gameplay mechanics of Infinite are largely like phenomenal, so like that's kind of the difference there, I guess.
It's a different issue where it's that Halo Infinite is not content complete, but it is like it's polished. Like what is there works and is functional and is at high quality, but it's very little that is there, whereas Battlefield is kind of the opposite, where it's got so much in there that's half done, that's half baked. So they both games have their issues, but definitely different. And optics wise, Halo made for a lot of good sizzle reels, whereas Battlefield, I just saw bug clips, like clips of bugs and glitches, like for the first 2 weeks after that game came out. Retro Studios has updated their Twitter banner to include some Metroid Prime 4 art, which is exciting for all the Nintendo nerds out there. Rashan, I'm gonna kick this over to you. How does this make you feel?
I'm excited. I'm hoping that maybe by the summer they have something to show us. Maybe a new teaser trailer, because the last one we got was a while ago and it was just the logo. Pretty sure that was the last one we got, at least.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited to see something from them. Unfortunately, it seems like they are still hiring people to help out with this project, which means I don't think they're super close to it being done, but I'm just hoping that they're at a state where they can show us a little gameplay, maybe even a cinematic trailer, just anything at this point, just to let us know that they're still trucking along with it. But at least it's great that they're acknowledging it and that they're still working on it. So that's good. At least I'm excited, and I'm hoping that this summer we get another look at it. or our first look at it, rather.
Right.
Yeah, first look. I'm also praying for that rumored Metroid Prime collection. I think I'd be
Right.
just as jazzed about that.
Yes.
Long rumored, long time.
Yeah,
Long
definitely.
In more video game adaptation news, we've got Walter Goggins is confirmed to star in the Fallout TV series from Jonathan Nolan on Amazon, which is exciting. I'm actually all about this. I'm really excited for this. Walter Goggins is fantastic, and I know it's kind of rude. People on Twitter mentioning, if anybody looks like a Fallout character, it's Walter Goggins. And I've never, it's like that meme. I'm so offended by something that I agree with, because you know what? That man is beautiful, but also, yeah, I mean, a little bit. So I'm excited. Is anybody else, is this series, does anybody have any good vibes for this series as well? Like, Jonathan Nolan is huge. I mean, everybody just says he's the brother of Christopher Nolan, but if you look on a lot of the credits, he actually helped out significantly with a lot of Christopher
He's the
Nolan's.
best Nolan writer, Jonathan Nolan.
Yes, he is. So I mean, and the one thing that nobody has a problem with any Bethesda games, especially Fallout games, is the lore and the story side of things. So this is going to be a TV show. There's not. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for this. I don't know what's a vibe check on the Fallout series, everybody. What are we thinking?
Quick vibe check for me is I didn't care about this at all until I continued reading saying from Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy. I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Why not?
Yeah.
I like Jonathan Nolan.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Walton Goggins, whatever his name is, but Walter Goggins, whatever his name is, I don't know. Anywho, I love Fallout and the lore, so I'm very excited for the series.
Heck yeah, I'm right there with you guys.
Sounds good. Halo TV series has been confirmed to be a weekly release, and Master Chief will remove his helmet in the series. Not surprising. Pretty much as soon as it was disclosed that Steve Downes wasn't doing the voice, I was like, okay, that's because they're gonna have him out of suit, because otherwise you would just get Steve Downes to do the voice. So not big news to anybody except for Dan and myself, but I wanted to get an opinion from you two. Dan and I have a little bet going. We have a one pick fantasy critic going on where Dan thinks that the Halo TV series is going to be good, and I think it's going to be bad. It's my counter pick. Dan gets one pick for this league, and I get the counter pick.
Okay.
So the question is for you guys: how should we score this? Should it be? What should we do for scoring here? Because I wanna have something over Dan. I want bragging rights, right? But how do we agree to these terms before we settle this bet?
So in other words, he's trying to say is how do we frame this so Gage wins so he can have one over on me?
I thought we agreed to critical reception, but apparently that's not going to cut it. So we need to figure out some sort of middle ground here.
What does critical reception mean, right? Like once all the episodes have aired and IGN has published their TV review for Halo, does that mean critical reception, or is it overall buzz from people on Twitter for week to week or after the fact?
Well, I like it to be the most objective, so like measurable, sort of, quantifiable sort of stats. So I was thinking, reviews, like review scores, like OpenCritic or something like that, right? Like IMDb or something like that. But I don't know. How are we going to do it?
I would say Rotten Tomatoes does shows. IMDb is a good measure. I'd say if you check a few outlets, and most things are over like 770, I think that's probably the good range, right? And it's a TV show, so I think there's gonna be some like good episodes, some really bad episodes. How
are you feeling, Dan? Do you feel like the series as a whole, the first season, will score over 70?
No, and if that's the question, then no. But like,
okay.
I feel like some shows that are good like don't do well on Rotten Tomatoes. Like Rotten Tomatoes, I feel like is a lot more inconsistent in terms of reviews than like video games, like aggregated. Does that make sense?
There's a bigger difference between critic and
audience score.
An audience score,
Yeah,
but
right.
if anything, the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are actually skewed towards the show's benefit, because the percentage that you see on Rotten Tomatoes is the percentage of critics that give it a 6 or higher. So if every reviewer gave Halo TV series a 6 out of 10, it would have 100% on the Rotten Tomatoes, theoretically.
Yeah, I just feel like, but there's so many more outlets that do movies and TV stuff. Like
that is true.
Like there's infinitely more. I feel like, no pun intended, but
But it seems like we don't need to have a bet because we're both in agreement that it's not going to get more than a 7 out of 10.
I'm not gonna say it's not going to. I'd probably lean towards not getting over a 7 if we had to, make bets. But that doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, I don't know.
Sure.
So I'm looking at some total mid shows right now. Like I looked at Marvel stuff just because it came up and then everything was related was Marvel. Like Hawkeye on IMDb 7.7. What If, which is like probably like the worst rated Marvel show, 7.5 on IMDb. And then
Is Halo
Falcon
gonna
Winter
be better?
Soldier 7.3.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier 7.3.
Yeah, these are out of 10.
I think those are great measures to like put Halo up against. Like, what do you think? Do you think Halo is going to be better than those 3 shows, or as good? I guess in this situation.
I'm guessing 5.8.
So like, that's the thing.
That is low.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that
Yeah.
low. So like 70, like 70 is a tricky number because that's like, I think that's going to be right around there. So like if Gage,
Right.
if you want to go down to 60, I'll take that bet.
I'm not gonna take. I'm not suicidal. I'm not gonna take above or below 60. I will do above or below. I will say below 6.8.
65, meet in the middle.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
No deal.
No
A
deal.
total garbage show like Iron Fist has a 6.4 on IMDb.
Wow.
Are you kidding?
I think you're safe to do this.
All right, 6.8 deal. Boom.
6.8. All right, I'll take it.
It's locked in.
And it's a win-win for me because if it's great, then it's a great TV show. But if it's not, then I'm right. I don't think it's gonna be great. I don't think it's gonna be great at all.
You're wrong.
So that was the longest quick bite in the history of quick bites. So moving on to Nier, we've got Nier anime in production. So, Christian, I'm gonna let you take this one because I don't know anime or Nier. Go ahead.
Thank God for Yoko Taro. It's actually happening. Nier Automata anime is on the way. I woke up to the news of this. And here's the thing. I think me and Ro are on the same page here. I love when like games get an adaptation that's outside the normal movie or TV adaptation.
Right.
Stuff like anime. I'm telling you, when that Splinter Cell like intro, when Sam Fisher was going to be introduced into Rainbow Six and it was introduced as an anime, I thought it was a Splinter Cell anime, and I thought like, yes, I'm all in for this because this is a very interesting media. It's awesome. When Star Wars had its Visions show and it was an anime, it's fantastic. Blade Runner anime, great. A new anime is coming out. Now Nier gets its time to shine. I'm super jazzed about this. Ro, how about you?
Oh yes, very excited. I think Nier Automata is the only one that I've actually played out of the series, but yeah, super excited. And this is what we were talking about last week with hoping that more games get an animated adaptation instead of the live action one. An anime, even better. Heck yeah! So I'm very excited for that. Yeah, it's the perfect medium for this game in particular as well. Not that I would mind if they cast a live action 2B. I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
Oh, you
but
kidding me?
but this is awesome. This is still really cool. So I'm excited for this.
So Ro,
It's probably going to be a long time until we get this, but very excited that it's in production.
good Christian.
Can I sit for a second? 2B, I know she's a robot, and the whole thing is about, like humanity, right? But like 2B's got to be like the sexiest robot I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
So Ro,
Yeah, I'd agree.
what are you going to will into existence for next week? Because you willed this into existence last week when you said more animated stuff. Like,
Oh.
what's next now?
I want
Manifest
to.
girlfriends for us.
Yes.
You know what? That's more important.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, I was gonna say I want to manifest a 2D HD remake of a Pokemon game. I would love that. I love that. Give me an Octopath Traveler style Pokemon game. Yeah.
Interesting.
Or a girlfriend. Whichever you rather.
Either or.
Whichever-
Little column A, little
Either or
column
is
B.
fine.
Moving on, the teaser trailer for the countdown, the mysterious Capcom countdown, finally came and went, and it was for Street Fighter. So I believe Dan, you called that, you guessed that it was Street Fighter. I was thinking Resident Evil. It is not Resident Evil. It is Street Fighter 6. It was revealed, and its logo is ripped right from an Adobe stock image, which is hilarious because, I mean, a lot of these things with games, maybe stealing features or modes that are being, there's a lot of like gray area. This is tough to defend. This is really tough to defend. It looks exactly like it. Have you guys all seen this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. I just assumed that it would be like a placeholder sort of thing,
Right.
and that they would change it by the time they're ready in the summer to show off more or release or something, because that is just such a departure from the logo, which is not
Right.
something weird. Games do that from time to time to just jazz it up, but it's just such. The Street Fighter logo is so dynamic and bold. To change it to something so minimalistic like that is weird. It's a weird choice, but yeah, hopefully they change it back, or at least do something different, because like you said, it's clearly taken from somewhere else. But yeah, I'm excited to see more. I'm glad that this was the announcement, Street Fighter 6. But I think the general consensus online is that an announcement for an announcement is never fun. This
Right.
is we're getting okay. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
thanks for telling us this. Now we have to wait until the summer to see more, and that's what we want. We want to see more. So
Right.
It's funny
Right.
seeing this logo compared to its previous 1 through 5 and just how uninspired this one looks. But at the same time, I
Yeah.
don't know. Am I gonna read too much into the logo? Probably not. Like, did they pay for this Adobe like font? Hopefully. You don't want them just ripping the font for free. Although I love free font. Like that's how I live my video editing. I'm not gonna lie to you. But like, yeah, it's a very interesting choice for a font. I don't know. Don't know how I feel about it. Don't know how to feel about all that jock in the trailer as well. Interesting.
Yeah, that was another thing that was going around a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody
Kazuya.
somebody actually stretched that image and was like, "This is how it's supposed to look," because he's like super wide. Like it's just like it doesn't look like a normal person.
Right. Okay, moving on to Mario Strikers. So the next Mario Strikers game, it's been a while, is being developed by Next Level Games, the same studio that behind the original game on GameCube. Now, this is exciting, on initial reading, but what are the chances that it's the same people there? Very slim, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So it's exciting for branding purposes, but hopefully the legacy of the design ideas that they have and the game design philosophy that studio has survived those years. In which case, we could be getting a game that lives up to the hype of the original Mario Strikers, which is one of the best GameCube games you can get, in my opinion. I love that game.
I'm looking at the lineage of games that Next Level Games have developed, and Transformers in there, right? Cybertron Adventures, which I think was a cool game. Maybe I'm confusing that with War for Cybertron, actually, so I might take that back. Ghost Recon. Meh.
Which one?
Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon?
Oh, the original one. Interesting.
Yeah.
Or
Luigi's
is it-
Mansion Dark Moon on 3DS.
Yeah, they did 3 too, I think, right?
Oh, and 3 as well.
Oh,
Yeah. I think it's in good hands.
Yeah. The original
Um,
Ghost Recon game was fantastic, actually. I'm surprised that they did that.
I'm just excited. I'm glad that they got it, because now what I was hoping for when they announced it, with Daisy screaming "Next Level Games" before the game starts off, can't happen. And which
Yes.
I
Yeah.
linked in the chat there for you guys to get a little smile, because if it doesn't bring a smile to your face, you're not alive. Not alive.
Hell yeah.
So they made Ghost Recon on the Wii, Gage, just so you calm your hopes
Yeah.
a little bit.
Never mind.
But
Bro,
no,
that-
yes, it's
no,
still great
never
that it's the original developer of. That's really cool.
It is. Yes, you love to see it. Now in the next quick bite, news that's gonna make me go, oh, is Bethesda is retiring its PC game launcher, boys. We did it. Phil?
Do EA next, please.
Phil? God
What's
bless
wrong
you,
with
Phil.
Origin?
Origin is awful. What do you mean
Awful.
what's wrong with Origin?
I don't care. Whatever.
It's like running Chrome 3 times on your computer, except it's just one EA launcher.
I just learned Chrome is bad for your PC, by the way. Like when
Yeah.
you're streaming.
What?
So
Like-
EA Origin is just as bad. It's a resource hog, and it never works
Wow.
right. It's just yes.
I got signed out of EA.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah.
Click. I want you to do me a favor, Christian. I want you to click keep me signed in and watch you get signed out tomorrow.
It will absolutely happen.
It will
I promise.
absolutely happen. Anyways, so
Hey, Tune
Bethesda.
into the next PXN and find out.
Bethesda is retiring its PC game launcher and moving everything to Steam in May. This is fantastic news. I had a feeling this was going to happen with the Xbox acquisitions. It's happening sooner than I anticipated, which is really exciting. Which means that there is hope that when the acquisition for Activision Blizzard is passed and is finalized, that we can get rid of BattleNet as well and have everything on either the Xbox game launcher or Steam. But Phil, while you're ahead, all right, we need to fix the Xbox PC app. All right, we need to get that up. We need to improve that. But very exciting. One less account to have on PC for all the PC players out there.
Which
Big win.
That's true. I have too many game launchers on my PC.
Way too many.
That's kind of annoying.
Which they had improvements for the Xbox game app, but maybe that was only for Windows 11. I can't remember if that was.
I think so. Yeah, but even still, it's got a long way to go. I mean, like Steam is the gold standard. Steam is absolutely perfect as a storefront. Yeah. There's so much information available to you at all times. You know exactly where your files are. Everything's moddable. Everything's customizable. So we want to get Xbox up there, especially if they're doing the whole Windows Xbox sort of merger, which we will get there. We will get there.
They're doing work, Gage. They're doing work. They did what recently they added where you can view where your files are now, right?
Yes.
On Xbox launchers.
You can now see where your files are. Yes.
Yeah. Always appreciate that.
Moving on, Guerrilla Games has released its first post-launch patch for Horizon Forbidden West, a game that I can't play, and it helps fix gameplay, graphics, and quest bugs, which is exciting for people like Dan who have the ability to play this game.
Spoiler alert.
Why can't you play it?
Because I don't have a PS5.
It's on PS4. You don't have a PS4?
I have an unopened Last of Us Part 2 PS4 Pro, so I don't know if I want to open that.
Guy, man.
That sounds like a great console to play it on.
I don't know if I can do 30 frames anymore, man. I don't know if I can do it.
I think
also
PS4 Pro can do 60, can't it?
I think the Pro has a 60 FPS.
Well, let's go ahead and look that up after the show, and then maybe I'll play it. But also kind of want to keep it in the box for the collector's edition part of it. But anyways.
Hey, hold on. I've closed EA. Now I'm trying to open up Origin, and it says Origin is unable to launch while EA app is running. But I'm not running EA app. I opened my task manager, and it's not.
Yeah, but EA thinks you are, so you are.
Okay, I'm on board. Origin kind of sucks now.
Unfortunately, EA has not been acquired by anybody, so it's not going anywhere.
By the way, both me and Christian lied to you. It is at a capped 30 FPS even on PS4 Pro. Sorry.
I had a feeling.
I just wanted to say that Horizon is gorgeous. Like I said that last week when we talked about it a little bit, but like the facial animations are just a huge step up from the last one. Like just the NPCs look like they're given the same amount of care as Aloy or any other main characters. Like this is so cool.
Right.
For main quests, I have some issues with side quests.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And the final quick bite. The final quick bite today, ladies and gentlemen, is Christian's 60-second Uncharted movie review. And I'm going to open up my timer right now. And if you go a second over 60 seconds.
Spoiler free.
Is it spoiler free?
Yeah, spoiler free, because I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I have not.
Okay. We have not seen it. So give me uno momento.
Yeah.
All right. We are starting. I can't see. It's fine. Trust me. It's now.
Uncharted is a bad movie that I really enjoyed going to the theaters for. Tom Holland is Nathan Drake. That is not Nathan Drake. That's just Tom Holland being Tom Holland. Mark Wahlberg as Sully. That's just Mark Wahlberg being Mark Wahlberg. In no way are these characters Nate and Sully. And yet, this was a great action movie. The action pieces were fantastic. I would very much enjoy seeing a sequel. It's Sony said it's a success, so like, why not? Sure. All the callbacks to the video games. You know what? Not that great. Just very shallow. Am I 60 seconds? Are you laughing?
You're at 25 seconds.
Bad movie. Good time. I'm just gonna call it here.
Okay, you got 19. Nervous. You have a 19-second. That's gonna get added on to the next 60-second interview. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So that your review is pretty much exactly what I expected. I had a feeling that Tom Holland was bought. This movie was probably written around, can we get Tom Holland to be Nathan Drake? let's make him younger because we need Tom Holland, as opposed to let's find the best Nathan
Well,
Drake, which is what I
'cause
figured.
I need Tom Holland to not be the action blockbuster star anymore. I
It's
need him
too
to do like
much.
some more interesting roles.
But
Sorry,
he's
Dan, go ahead.
he's tried that, and they've all gotten really bad reviews.
Yeah, Cherry was not good. I turned it off.
Wasn't
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg originally cast as Nathan Drake in this too, and then they changed their
Yes.
mind? Yeah, it's like they didn't know what they wanted for the movie. But
All right, moving
Oh.
on to nothing. We're moving on to Christian. What would you like to say, Christian?
I remember what I wanted to say. Just very weird depictions of these characters. Like Drake sucks in this. Like he's an asshole. You could argue maybe he was an asshole in the games, but like he's a likable asshole. In this, he's just kind of mean for no reason, and like he isn't really morally good until like in the end. I don't know. Weird. That's it.
I didn't
No
have
more
high
Uncharted
hopes for it.
discourse.
Moving on to a segment I am bringing back, Street Meat, sponsored by Man Meat. Use code PODCASTPXN to get 10% off your first meat order of man.
that's not true at all.
So, we got two juicy rumors today, according to industry insider at Special Nick. Actually, sorry, it's Special Nick on Twitter, who has leaked things correctly before in the past. PlayStation is planning a significant showcase in March. Other industry insiders have heard similar things. Tom Henderson has commented on this. But apparently this is going to be a big one. This is going to be the God of War, Last of Us news, the big one. So it's very exciting to think about. PlayStation has been doing a lot of state of plays, but they've been doing a lot of focused ones on specific games and smaller indie titles and stuff like that. It's been a while since we've gotten a huge update. And a lot of people have pointed out that after God of War Ragnarok and I think Spider-Man 2 is the only... Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine are the only first-party exclusives that they have talked about for 2023 and beyond. So there's a lot of empty space there that people want to know about. So this could be the game where we get a lot of teases on maybe what Haven's working on, what a lot of these new studios that they founded are working on. So do you guys... Whether or not it happens, are you excited for a possible showcase, big PlayStation showcase this early in the year? Do you think it's a good idea that they maybe come out ahead of everybody before the Summer Games event starts? What are you guys thinking about this?
See, your wording just now is what interests me, because everything in this rumor here on the Reddit is calling it a state of play, as us Sony ponies already used that word. Those PS fans know very well. The big ones usually aren't state of plays. It's
Right.
the PS showcases, and they save those for. I don't remember huge ones usually in that springtime area. Usually it's summer and in the fall. So I would temper expectations there for stuff like Last of Us specifically.
For sure.
God of War seems likely with that game supposedly coming out this year. I still think it's coming later next year. Sorry, Dan's what your fantasy open critic, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Okay, if this rumor is true, if this guy's leaks are usually true, I don't doubt that like a sizable state of play is coming, because we haven't heard a lot from PlayStation like through their own channel. So yeah, I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. I would just temper expectations.
For sure.
Being huge.
And just to remind everyone, the point of Street Meat is just to sort of speculate and have fun with it. So absolutely nobody listening should take this as this is actually happening. This is just a segment for discussing rumors and sort of getting excited.
I like it.
About that. So so the reason I think that this might be something worth considering is that it might be an interesting strategy to come out before everybody else in March, to maybe drop a bunch of teasers or show off some gameplay for certain games. Sorry, Dan's editing the document, and he shouldn't be, because he's not the host. You have no privileges here. To come out at March and drop some info on games, and then to come back in the summer and give more like release dates and concrete info. They get to kind of double dip in terms of their time in the spotlight. So I think it could be interesting. Rashan, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I would like that too. That would be the ideal situation if they'd like give us a nice state of play or showcase where they're talking about a few upcoming games, and then in the summer they elaborate on that a little bit. I don't see that happening. I hope that happens. That would be great. God of War was the game that I was thinking of too, Christian, that I could possibly see them talking about. That's the only big game that they have announced that I could think of that they could bring up at this time. But like there's PSVR 2 as well. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
they recently unveiled the headset, I think. So maybe they can go a little bit in more depth in a state of play on that. I think that would be cool. More likely, maybe
Yep.
even. But yeah, that's where I'm at on it. I hope it happens. I hope it's big, but I think it's probably going to be a little bit more focused on a single game or PSVR.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ro. I think it's more likely to see like PSVR like as like a whole showcase for that, because like typically when they've showed PSVR games in the past, they don't show like, you know, traditional games alongside their PSVR stuff. Typically they'll show their PSVR stuff in one showcase and then their other stuff in another one. So yeah, maybe God of War, but yeah, I'm tending to think more PSVR like Ro.
Fair enough.
It's
We
gonna be-
will. Go ahead.
It's going to be hilarious when Dan gets hope when they say, yes, it is coming December, God of War.
And then
this
it gets
year.
delayed.
Mark your calendars, and then it gets delayed. Yeah.
And it gets one of those like 3-week delays too, where it's not even a big one, but it just pushes it
enough.
outside.
January
Yeah,
1st.
Yeah, exactly. Right, January 4th, something like that.
Oh.
And the second piece of street meat for today is a Bloomberg article states that a Call of Duty title co-developed by Treyarch will release in 2023 to fill the gap of the mainline series. So
what do you
I've
mean?
connected this with.
What gap? We haven't heard about this gap yet.
We haven't heard about the gap yet. That kind of throws
Oh,
things in a
the
whack.
store?
No.
We can stick this
Dan?
to Todd's.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, true. All right. So we're gonna skip this. We're gonna move on to the news items of the day, which is that Call of Duty 2023 has been delayed. Spoiler alert. Call of Duty 2023 has reportedly been delayed to 2024, which would make it the first time that Activision has missed an annual COD release since 2005, which started with Call of Duty 3, I believe. So a huge shakeup, and I think it would be silly to say that the timing is anything other than coincidental with the Xbox acquisition, right? So
Never mind.
So this is, I mean, to some people, maybe to some diehard COD fans, Dan, you gotta just let this roll. This is making it worse. All right? You gotta just let this. You guys gotta let this ship. It's heading towards the iceberg, and there's nothing you can do. So just sit down, grab a drink, and enjoy the ride, Dan. All right. So Call of Duty, yeah, it's delayed. How do we feel about this? I personally, for me, I'm excited. This is good. This is a sign of quality, and a lot of these games, especially the big substantial upgrades like Modern Warfare 2019, which have a new engine, new gameplay features, like that game it was not near the end of its life by the time Activision decided it was near the end of its life. That game could have easily gotten another year's support. So
yes,
this is exciting for me. Christian, it seems like you agree.
First of all, let's bring back DLC maps. Remember that? Remember
Yes.
the DLC maps from COD 4? That was great. Actually, I think Modern Warfare 2019 had maps later that were just like given up for free. I
For
think?
free, yes, which is good.
Yeah,
Doesn't
so-
split the
so I-
player base,
yeah,
right?
Which is I agree. I definitely agree. The first thing I thought of that I'm kind of curious about is I want to know what the Bloomberg source was, like what that timing was, because earlier in the week or even that day there was tons of news items about Bobby Kotick's like payouts. There was tons of articles about union busting, and then more specifically the slideshow that the Activision lawyers were showing about like what unions supposedly do at work sites, and that unions like exploit lazy workers and the like. And so that was like kind of what the discourse was around Activision. And then, you know, this big news item dropped about Activision and Call of Duty skipping a year. And suddenly the conversation changed. You know, you see tons of articles on YouTube now, like this is like the main discussion on the Activision front, which is understandably so, right? It's Call of Duty, it's huge. So that's like my one like question, right, for the source. Otherwise, I think this is a great move, especially if this new Call of Duty is going to have Warzone 2, right? Or is that skipping until later? I don't even know anymore.
That allegedly is launching
With Modern
in
Warfare.
2022. Yes. So
Yeah.
this year with the new Modern Warfare 2, which I think it's actually just called Modern Warfare
Yeah.
2.
I think having like COD fatigue, people like just not very excited about the most recent Treyarch release, the most recent like Sledgehammer release, which didn't see like kind of came and went. Like the biggest one of recent memory has been Modern Warfare 2019. And you're right, like that game definitely had more shelf life on it, and the player base is still kind of there for the most part. And if not, they're on Warzone. But yeah, I think if this has the juice, it can have a great life, and it just gives teams like the freedom to have more development time to make
Right.
more quality products and not pushed to have this constant like 3-year cycle. This is great for like everyone, I think.
Yeah, I agree, Christian. Like, and the other thing is like Treyarch worked their asses off to get Black Ops out the door. Black Ops Cold War, right, was the
Yes.
last one.
Yep.
And because they were on an accelerated timeline, because I guess Sledgehammer wasn't ready that year, so things happened or whatnot, and they had to go. And so like they had to make their game in 2 years, so now they're given 4 years, which is much better. So yeah, I'm excited to see what Treyarch does with 4 years of development time, especially since they've kind of risen as like that A team for the Call of Duty. In terms of all the Call of Duty teams, personally.
For sure.
I don't know anymore if they're the A team. Like people
Maybe.
did not like Cold War, and they did not like the gameplay. They didn't like the campaign at all.
Well, here's the thing with Cold War, and this is why this acquisition is so huge to me, is that we think about all the time when developers are forced to put out a game that's not ready, like
Sure.
be it Cyberpunk or be it we don't know about Halo Infinite, but like, there's lots of games that come out and everybody kind of unanimously says like this needed more time than you have an EA Battlefield 2042. How often do we hear about higher ups coming into a studio and say, "Hey, you need to release your game a year early"? That is crazy that happened. That's the type of management
Yeah.
that was going on at Activision Blizzard. Call of Duty Cold War was supposed to release a year later, and they came in and said, "You're releasing it now because we don't like what Sledgehammer's doing." And then Sledgehammer restarted on Vanguard, so we don't even actually know how much development time that got, maybe even less than a year, which is why nobody's liking it right now. So that's crazy. That's people forget about that. That's insane in terms of the industry. Like that's not right. That's that's ridiculous. So this is awesome to me, and I think that this is a sign, of the influence of Phil Spencer and maybe him speaking to Bobby Kotick and saying, because obviously the acquisition has not gone through yet, but there's a lot of moving pieces, and there probably lots of communication between the two and setting things up for when he takes over. So I don't think the timing is coincidental at all that they're getting acquired by Xbox, and now suddenly, after 18 years, I think it is, they're finally skipping a year. So this is exciting. Uncle Phil coming in for the W. Rashan, are you a big COD guy? Does this mean anything for you?
I want to save some of my thoughts for the topic of the show, but I think
Right.
this is really a good move. Like I could only imagine that this is going to end up with a better product for everybody, giving the developers more time, as Christian said. I think Ubisoft did something similar with Assassin's Creed, and that really benefited the final outcome. And I think it kind of steered the series in a better direction than it was going in. So hopefully they could do something like that for COD. As someone who doesn't play it a lot, I don't know if it's already in that quote unquote direction. It's already good, maybe, but I could only imagine that a year spent fine tuning what makes Call of Duty good and getting that extra time. It's only going to be good when it does release a year later. I think it's a great move. I talk more about Call of Duty later, but yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Well,
Awesome.
Well, one more thing I just thought of, because I tweeted about this. Like, there's no way that Activision does this on their own any other year. Like,
Right,
literally, they've never done this ever, and
Yep.
Activision loves money. They would never do this. Like, this had to have been something like Phil saying, like, hey, we're preparing for the acquisition next year. We'd like to get ahead of this and say, like, we're pushing that game out, give them more time. Like, there has to be some kind of behind closed doors thing going on there.
Because this game is scheduled for release. This game will come out after the acquisition has gone through. So that's why I agree with you. I agree with you, Dan. I think there is some sort of, while he's not in charge yet, there is some sort of transfer of responsibility where he's saying, this product that you guys have scheduled for release by the time I'm in charge, I'd like for you to delay that or to do something with it. And because by the time that rolls around, it's the financial. Bobby Kotick doesn't benefit from the finances of those games, right? So I agree with you, Dan. I think that's exactly what happened.
This
Moving
makes
on.
me so much more excited for MW too. That's my last thing.
Yes, absolutely. And that yeah, that's the thing about call. We'll get into it for the top of the show. Second news story for the day: PSVR 2 headset design has been fully revealed. We've seen the headset, and now we see the handsets as well. Focus being on comfort, and there's also a feature that they showed off, which is actually kind of huge for somebody who has a VR headset. It's got a little air vent to get the steam out of your goggles, which is fantastic.
Nice.
So, Dan, I know you're not a fan of two-tone. I'm a huge fan of two-tone. This thing looks sexy. It looks sexually attractive to me, Dan.
My God.
So, what are you feeling about this? What are you feeling about this headset? How does it make you feel, Dan?
It's the same as the console design. I don't like. I like it either all white or all black. I don't like the mixture of the two. It doesn't look right.
Get over it, Dan. You're gonna put the headset on. You're not gonna be seeing yourself.
No,
Exactly,
I
Dan.
probably won't put it on because it'll probably be like $500, and I'll be like, nah, I got my.
Oh,
Quest.
you wish it's 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great
no.
point. It's a great point. But no, there's lots of things to look forward to. They've got 4K HDR, which is really exciting to see in a headset. Enhanced tracking, one cable similar to the Oculus, which is fantastic. If you decide to hook it up to a computer,
PC.
that is. To a PC,
Yeah.
yes. So lots of good stuff here, and again, we still don't know. I think the rumor, or maybe they've said it's launching holiday 2022, or that's the rumor. But we don't know prices. We don't know release date yet. How are we all feeling about this headset? Is anyone planning on getting one? Assuming we all have the console and can get one. And what do we think about pricing? Christian, you're up first.
Okay, so as an adopter of the original PSVR, I hated all the cables. That setup drove me insane. Just staring at it would give me anxiety because I like having kind of a tidier area.
Right.
My cable organization isn't the greatest, but I try, right? So seeing that thing and just having to unfold all the cables to play was a nightmare, right? I'm glad it's just the one cable. We knew this, right?
Right.
But this discourse came around on Twitter again because people are like just don't want it because of now the Quest being like the most approachable a VR headset in terms of barriers to entry. You just buy the thing and it works. Your store's there. You don't need a cable. Just play wherever, right? I kind of fall into the camp that I like the cable because I want this thing to take advantage of the PS5 hardware.
Yes.
The only issue with that is that then you start to introduce barriers of entry, right? You need a PS5. I think if Sony really wants to build a VR ecosystem, and I kind of tweeted about this earlier in the week, I think having a cable optional would have probably been the better move because you want people to invest in your ecosystem, right? You don't want to have to buy a console that you can't find in stores right now. So I'm very kind of scared to see what that's gonna turn out to be. But people are passionate. People like VR, and if it seems like Sony's passionate about it too. So
Right.
and it seems like they're also getting behind having some powerhouse developers make some cool VR games, right? We already saw like Call of Duty, Horizon, Call of the Wild, I think it was called.
Right.
So if they can nail like the software side, I think people will follow and kind of invest into the VR ecosystem. So yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
The big worry is going to be price point because this is a beefy thing. Not quite as beefy as the Vive, but pretty close. So.
And that's the thing, is it seems like Sony is doubling down on making a premium powerhouse VR experience, right? You have very few companies. I really think it's just Meta, or Facebook, that has options for the premium experience and the entry level experience with the Quest. And I said Oculus earlier. I did mean Quest hooking up to your PC. But yeah, so Quest is obviously a standalone headset. Then you have the Rift, which is your premium headset. Valve only makes expensive headsets. HTC only makes expensive headsets. And it seems like Sony is kind of, instead of doing that sort of two-pronged attack, they're doubling down on, we are making a powerhouse VR that's going to be premium, requires a PS4, requires the hardware of that.
I said the Vive, I meant the Index. Thank you, Gage.
Okay. None of us know what any of these things are called anymore. They're ridiculous. Rashan, how are you feeling about PlayStation VR 2? Did you get PlayStation VR 1? Assuming you have a PS5, are you looking to get VR 2? What do you think the price is going to be?
I did not get the first PlayStation VR. That was something that we talked about like way back
Right.
before the PS5. That was something that I wanted to get, but I just never had the opportunity to purchase it. Definitely interested in VR as a concept, and I would love to interact with that ecosystem. But like Christian said, having to get a PS5 and on top of that the PSVR, it's going to be really expensive, and that's crazy. The Oculus, and it would be such a game changer. When Christian mentioned that, like that just blew my mind. Like, why don't they do that as having it a separate thing? Like, if you don't have a PS5 but you still want to play PSVR games, then just go get the headset. But the fact that you need the cable and all that kind of stuff, then it kind of removes that that possibility. But that would be
it's probably
awesome.
not that easy to develop it that way either. So.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes sense. But it would be so huge if they were able to do something like that, and they would be able to compete with people like Oculus if they were able to separate those two system from VR. But yeah, as someone who's interested in it, I just never had the means to interact with it because of the price point. But when I get a PS5, this is definitely something that I'm interested in partaking in when I have the means to partake in it. So
Right.
yeah, definitely interested in it. I love the stuff that they're making. I'm glad that they're doubling down on it, like Christian said, with getting some more first-party developers involved. They didn't have that much first-party stuff with the previous ones, so that gives me a little bit more faith in what they're doing with the sequel PSVR.
Daniel the Manual.
Yeah, just real quickly. So Facebook is actually focusing on just one product now because they discontinued the other line. What's
The
it
Rift,
called?
right?
The Rift. Yeah. So like they have doubled down on the Quest and plugging it in as an option, but obviously it does make it more complicated. But I feel like there is something else that PlayStation could do. To your guys' points, like Christian, you said as well. I think that they need to do something else to like broaden this to lower the barrier of entry. And one way they could do that, in my opinion, is allow it to plug into a PC and give people another option on PC. Because obviously, like the PSVR 2 is actually superior to the Quest, I think, and the Vive or whatever it's called, the Index. In some regards, obviously
not the Index, but the Vive.
Yes, Vive maybe. Yeah, I'm confusing them. They're all the same, Christian. I don't know. Sure. But no, yeah, I think that would be great if they gave that as an option and then released their VR games on PC as well, because then you're broadening your audience to another platform and you're lowering your barrier to entry if they already have a PC. So yeah.
Right. And that's the struggle with obviously, so it blows the Quest out of the water, but the problem is that this PSVR 2 headset as it currently exists could not be a standalone headset because the battery would die in like 30 seconds. Right? You've got this HDR 4K super wide field of view. The only reason that the Oculus can run on its own is that its specs are way toned down, right? So you've pretty much got like a beefed up smartphone inside of a Quest, and that's what's running all your games. And it's running all the games on low settings, predetermined, all that stuff. So I actually didn't think about that, Dan, but that would be huge if they did allow that. And I mean, it's a single USB Type-C connection, so theoretically it is possible. It just depends on how much of their proprietary sort of software or firmware is in that, right? Whether or not it can transfer over. But that I didn't even think about that. That's an excellent idea, because then you could have a really high quality, and like you said, you're casting a wider net, because if somebody doesn't, like myself, doesn't have a PS5, you know, now instead of having to spend a total of $1,200 to get both, I could just buy this headset. So Sony's getting my money that they wouldn't get otherwise.
Right. And,
you know, I use it as a premium PC headset. So that's a great idea, actually. That's a really, really good idea.
By the way, I just want to say I thought it was funny, Christian, your comment about the cables getting crazy with the original VR, because Sean and I had that exact conversation on the podcast like a long time ago. And he was like, yeah, these cables are awful. And I'm like, try looking at my my Kinect that's plugged into my Xbox One X, because it had that adapter that had like 12 cables out of it. I'm like, this is stupid. Why do I even have the Kinect plugged in?
Yeah. I also just totally thought about this as well. The rumor is that Oculus is releasing the Quest 3 sometime later this year. So,
Wow.
like the concern there is going to be, who is the actual target audience, right, for Sony's VR? And I think it's probably not people who aren't interested in VR or who just like don't have PlayStations, like the general VR consumer, if that's a thing. I think it's just the adopters who are already in the PlayStation ecosystem, and I think VR1 kind of proved that if they believe in the product, their fans will reciprocate and kind of vote with their wallets and be like, yes, if you're gonna try to make cool games, we'll support you because we like playing on your system XYZ. So yeah, like I said before, if they're gonna show that same enthusiasm for VR2, then I think they'll be in good hands because VR1 sold met and I think surpassed Sony's expectations. So I think they're gonna be all right for VR2.
You know what? Shout out to Sony too as well, because it does seem that they are focused on making a premium product. They totally could make a cheaper unit that just
Yeah.
gets the job done to get more sales, but they are making a very strange decision to just target the hardcore VR audience. And it's the PSVR 1 was a surprise, but the fact that they're coming out with this PSVR 2 and it's better than most PC VR headsets on the market is really it's applaudable. It's
One more concern, I'm sorry. The big one that we don't know is whether or not it's going to be backwards compatible, just because the two VR systems operate differently. I'm praying it is, and that they at least figure out a way, because they've been, throwing in the Rare VR game on PS Plus, and I always just grab everything. So if you didn't get VR1, and you do have a PS5 and you're interested in VR gaming, and you go out and get a VR2, then you'll already have a bunch of VR games that you maybe have picked up already, which could be cool. You have a bunch of games to already play with. You don't need to buy a game necessarily.
They've got it, right? They got to do that.
for software. I
yeah.
feel like
Fingers crossed, man.
I feel like
Yeah,
they
I
I,
hope
feel like
so.
they should. Yeah.
It's
They got the
different
PS4
tracking.
stuff,
Two different
right?
kinds of tracking.
Oh, that's
Oh,
true.
okay.
Yeah, that is true.
Uh-oh.
That maybe they meet in the middle and they say it's a developer's choice. Like if you guys want to, put a patch out and make it available for the PS5, then you can. If not,
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. If they leave it up to the developers, that could be what happens. The final
VR
news.
gaming rocks. That's the last thing I'll say. VR gaming.
It's fantastic.
Cool.
Half-Life Alyx is next level. And our final piece of news for the day: Elden Ring review roundup.
Oh boy.
So this game, I am surprised, and this might be the first From Software that I have to From Software game that I have to play, because the game is not only receiving universal critical acclaim, but many places and many journalists are calling it one of the greatest games ever made. And the general consensus seems to be that every From Software game has been leading up to this, which is the perfection of their formula. People are very excited about it. It's got a lot of accessible features in it, but apparently the difficulty, it's still just as difficult. It's still just as punishing. It's everything you want from a From Software game. Everyone's loving it. I'm excited about it, and I had no interest in this game before it came out. Christian, have you played it? What are you feeling? I want to hear.
Have I played it? No. God, I wish. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if I would like to do this for review, because I want to start with review embargo. It was released today, and codes were sent out 1 week in advance, which is
Right.
kind of insane with how much hours it takes to dive into a Souls game, let alone an open world Souls game. I forget the lad's name from IGN who reviewed it. Who, granted, he wanted to do this, spent 87 hours to complete what he wanted to do in order. That's just not even on top of the work he did for the reviews. 87 hours of playing, which is absolutely insane. And should be a conversation about work culture in terms of reviewers, not just developer crunch. This is a different kind of crunch that exists in the industry, which should be looked at. Otherwise, long have we all shouldered this burden of anticipation. Bear it for but a moment more tarnished. Elden Ring releases in 2 days, and oh god, it pains me to say that I'm putting it on the back shelf for a little bit because I'm playing Horizon, and I don't want to wait because Elden Ring looks fantastic. Gage, to answer you've never played a Souls game?
Never.
Pick this one up.
I think I will.
I think from what I've gathered, right, it seems like this is the most approachable because like the big moment of contention here is that like whenever you got stuck in other Souls games, you're kind of at a loss here because you can maybe Demon Souls, you can go to other areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get stuck in areas and like you can't really do anything about that. You just kind of have to, you know, I don't want to say get good, but like learn, adapt, and kind of overcome these challenges. And it seems like Elden Ring, because of its design philosophy that it is an open world game, you can just F off and go somewhere else and explore other parts, right? And so I think that idea really excites me for how much is going to be actually in there in terms of like exploration and just figuring things out, but also that Souls DNA of like difficult combat. I think it's going to be like one of my favorite games like ever, period.
Right.
Wow.
Dan, vibe check. How you feel about Elden Ring?
It's a From Software game. So I don't know. I honestly 100% I'm going to listen to what Christian says because Christian knows, but from everything we've talked about on this podcast, Christian knows what I can and can't take. And I'm curious to see like after he plays, like, you know, is this going to be something that I'm going to like lose my mind over? Because that's my only that's the only thing that stopped me from playing FromSoft games is the difficulty aspect. Like I just get so freaking like, I don't know, red in the eyes and like.
Right, that's the tricky part that you're gonna have to look into it because I've been looking into this a lot. I've been reading a lot of different reviewers, just people that I follow that have early access to the game, and it's sort of in this weird gray spot where, like Christian was saying, there's the fact that the game is open world lends itself to be easier in some ways, but the actual combat difficulty is still a From Software game. It's still just as punishing. You can run away from the fights, but when you have to fight, it's still going to be difficult. That's kind of what I've been gathering from what a lot of people have been saying. So take that as you will. I have no problem with difficult games. I just haven't. It's really the setting and the time period that doesn't really do it for me. I'm not a huge medieval fantasy guy, and every From Software has kind of been that. I have thought about picking up Sekiro actually. The next time
Bloodborne isn't that Sekiro is fantastic. That's my favorite.
Yeah, but see the one setting I like less than medieval fantasy is Renaissance. So so Bloodborne's out as well. But Sekiro isn't it kind of, that's when I think of the guy in the hat, isn't it kind of like Renaissance era?
No, but it's like Victorian. This is a Victorian era. It seems like very Victorian inspired and like Gothic.
That's true. Okay.
I will say what something you said too. I want to just like, I don't know, I guess tease that out a little bit. You said easier. I wouldn't say easier is the right word for Elden Ring. Even granted, I haven't played it, so you know, huge grain of salt there. And when you said that, like, if you're having a difficult time, you could go somewhere else, and like that makes the game easier. I probably just say that makes it easier to kind of be less frustrated. That makes sense,
right? No,
that doesn't make the game easier, right?
Yes,
is that what you meant? Okay.
Yeah, the from what I hear, that anybody you fight, like anything you have to do in terms of fighting or core combat, is still just going to be as brutal as From Software game. Which is the fact that it's open world. You do have more options on how you go about things, but no, it's definitely not. It definitely doesn't seem like it's easier than any other in terms of the gameplay combat difficulty. But some of the open world mechanics lend themselves to you being able to sort of take a breather and I don't know, take your time with it.
If Elden Ring wasn't coming out, I would have told Dan to probably try Demon Souls, the remake. I think Demon Souls is probably like the easiest of the Souls games, and it's like the most linear, I feel, and it's just like the most approachable with like kind of like some few modernizations and stuff, even though it is like very difficult.
Right.
But yeah, I think Elden Ring probably would be more up his alley.
Rashan?
I don't know how you do with open world games, Dan. I'm sorry. Bro, sorry, please.
Shan, are you picking up Elden Ring?
I want to. I definitely am interested to check it out. The open world aspect of it definitely intrigues me. Definitely want to check out that. I love I'm on both sides of the same coin, like two sides of the same coin, but like the vagueness of the open world and how it doesn't hold your hand, how you have to figure stuff out by yourself. I love that. And on the other side, sometimes I really, really hate that because then I get super frustrated. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this item? But it's always fun to figure it out. But at the same time, Yeah, I hate it at the same time. But yes, Christian, what were you going to say?
Bro, actually, to that point, my favorite thing about the Souls games, to be honest, is that whenever I do find moments where I'm stuck at, Souls games are kind of developed in mind where like it's kind of maybe it's an unspoken rule, but it's meant to be kind of a community game.
That's
Like
what I was
things
hearing
are
too.
very
Yeah,
guys and like mysterious because it kind of forces communities to come together and
talk,
figure
yeah.
stuff out.
Yeah.
And that stuff is always great to see like online.
Yeah,
And then, like,
I did
oh,
hear
awesome.
that. I did hear that. I was watching the Kind of Funny one actually, and how they were how Tam was saying like, I was just talking to Andy this entire time. Like when he was stuck, I was letting him know, oh, just do this, and this, and like that's really cool. I do like that. But when
Mhm.
I'm just playing by myself, if I weren't to talk to somebody, something like that would upset me. But it's good to know that from what I've heard, I've never played a Souls game. From what I've heard, the Souls community is very welcoming, which is so interesting for the type of game that it is. You wouldn't expect that, but maybe I should have. But yeah, it's that's awesome. So I definitely want to check it out. Obviously we've all heard great things about it. I'm glad that the hype was warranted, and yeah, I'm definitely excited to check it out. I probably won't be right away, but I'm definitely interested in picking this up.
For
The
sure.
highest rated game.
Yes,
Metacritic.
crazy.
Take that, Dan.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Dan.
You came in with Warhammer last week. I had to show up with something this week.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, you
Right.
finished you started the Infinity Gauntlet. That's your first, drop.
I still have to wait for Witch Queen reviews. Damn it.
Mm.
Come
Yeah,
on, people.
I haven't seen any.
People like Witch Queen though.
It's going to be a while because you can't get pre-access to the DLC, so it's going to be a while until
Gotcha.
until we get it. Yeah.
I'll review it for him right now.
So that brings us to the topic of the show today, which we got to in a very orderly way. No,
Okay.
we don't. It's not. I was testing you, Dan. You
Okay.
didn't say anything. Rashan passed. Congratulations, Rashan. You passed. Christian and Danny failed. So, with that test out of the
I was
way,
about to say something, but I could tell Dan was going to say something first. So.
I was pointing
about to, but you didn't. So, Rashan, congratulations.
Yeah,
You
I'll
are the
take my-
sole winner of this. Yes, take the crown. So quick fantasy critic draft check-in. Christian wins. Just everything. That's just pretty much how it's gonna go.
What, Dan, don't count down out. Don't count Dan out. He's at 43 points right now. I have 10.
Yeah, but you have one. Wait, 10. Oh, it hasn't calculated your Elden Ring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But remember that any score above 90, each point is worth double. So
Yeah.
You're gonna get 34
That's
points from this.
Insane.
Good lord.
say it again, but slower.
Insane.
Don't actually say it again.
I wasn't going to. So pretty much you two are gonna be very neck and neck after the Elden Ring scores settle, and Rashan and I are comfortably at the back of the pack.
When I said I set up, I have like too many slots open for games. I may have made this fantasy critic like you have to draft too many games because I'm missing a lot. Dan's almost filled up though.
But if we make this a tradition at the podcast PXN, we know this for next time, right?
True.
So this was 15 and 2 counter picks, right?
Yep.
So next year maybe 10 each
10?
or something like that. I mean,
10 in one counter pick,
10 and 1 counter pick, yeah.
Yeah.
On to what you got for me, Daniel Emanuel. What have you been playing?
Yes, I've been playing lots of stuff for once. Lots of different stuff. Horizon Forbidden West, of course, I started on Friday, which I told you guys last week. I was like, I'm going to play Cyberpunk, and then I forgot that Horizon came out Friday, so I was like, well, that didn't happen. But yeah, Horizon's fantastic, absolutely beautiful on PS5. It's insane. Like, and actually, I was telling, sorry, Christian, beautiful. Yes.
I said you're beautiful.
Oh,
sorry.
Well, that's a lie. So, I mean, but anyways, I'm just kidding. Gage, I was actually talking to about Horizon and like the quality mode versus performance mode. I'm like, I tried to go to quality mode just to see. I can't even tell the difference visually, quality versus performance mode. So it's like the performance mode's no brainer. It looks fantastic and it runs 60 frames per second. It's so good. I have seen, there were some issues here and there that people were having with different quests not showing up and some performance issues. I personally haven't encountered any yet, but I'm only like 4 hours in. So obviously I have a lot more to go. But yeah, I really like it so far. The new dinos are nice, you know. I love the combat. The combat's fantastic. If there was one gripe that I had from the first game, Zero Dawn, was that the combat for me wasn't as engaging as I would have liked it. Like in the end game, it got better, like once you had all of your tools. But I feel like at the get-go in Forbidden West, you're kind of, you know, put in a better position than you were at the start of Zero Dawn, which I really like. And this point in the story, which I don't want to spoil anything if anyone hasn't played the first game, I like where they're at in the point in the story right off the bat from this game as well.
Where, without spoiling, where are you at? Are you in the west or are you still in the east?
I'm still in the west. Yeah, I haven't.
Or
yeah.
sorry, have you made it to the west or are you still on east?
I'm still in the first area. I don't know west
Okay.
versus east. Yeah.
You are not
probably-
prepared. You
yeah.
are not prepared for where the story's going to go next. Is what I'll
Really?
say.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm still embarrassed that I said prehistoric times last week. Oh my god.
Hey, it
I'm
made
not.
good content.
Oh man.
That's funny. You corrected yourself though. You corrected yourself.
It was too late. It was too late.
I also played a little Battlefront 2 with Gage and of course Glenn as well. That was actually a lot of fun. Like that game does not get enough credit for how good that game ended up turning out to be after all of the issues that it had at launch and microtransactions and all of that. It's actually a really great game now. So had a lot of fun with that, playing some Darth Vader and, you know, Boba Fett actually was my favorite to play as. I was ripping it with Boba. And then the last game I've been playing, which was as of yesterday, Destiny 2 Witch Queen. I
Let's
have
go.
now joined the ranks again, rejoined the ranks of Destiny. I'm joining Row, and yes, it's so good. I honestly, this is probably my favorite expansion since probably Destiny 1 times. Like, there was expansions that I liked with Destiny 2, but nothing really captured me. But Witch Queen has really captured me again. Like the campaign already is phenomenal. I freaking love it. It's so good. And that's coming from someone that doesn't really know much about the overall Destiny 2 campaign, because I've kind of fallen off the map on that, like with the season content and all of that. I haven't really kept up with it that much, but it is such a good story, and the campaign that I've played thus far is great. I've only played the first story mission, which may sound like nothing, but as Ro and I were talking about, these freaking new story missions are so freaking long. Like, I literally almost spent 2 hours on the first story mission. I was like, holy shit, this is really beefy.
Plus, you're playing on Legendary.
Yes, I am playing on Legendary, which again,
Which is the way to go, I heard.
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, when I was looking at it, it's like you get more rewards or you can get less rewards. I'm like, I want more rewards. And like,
You're not doing it by yourself, are you?
I am actually. Yes.
You're a madman.
I
You're a
was, yeah.
madman.
And that's what's crazy, because like I've told you guys before, I don't like hard games and like I don't like that kind of stuff, but like I am really enjoying this. And it's not that I'm not dying, because I'm definitely dying quite a few times, but it's not frustrating because I'm like, man, I stupidly did this. I shouldn't have ran in there. I'm only just me playing this. And yes, it's so good. I'm really, really enjoying it. I think the shaping weapons mechanic is super cool, where you basically build your own weapons. That's super awesome. I got to build my first, whatever you call that, the
Glaive or the
yes,
glaive.
the glaive,
The glaive,
yes.
yeah.
So that's super cool. Yeah, having a lot of fun with it. Hopefully, need to get Ro on my fire team and carry me along.
Heck yeah.
Can I ask what Ro and Dan's classes are? They seem
Hunter.
like warlocks to me.
I used to be a warlock. I was a warlock main for all of Destiny 1. I'm a Titan main now in Destiny 2.
Oh, we just need a
Titan,
hunt,
yeah.
or we need a warlock now.
I
wants
used to
to
be
join?
you can
Back
pick
in
a
the
warlock.
day.
I'm a hunter or die.
I'm a hunter too. I'm not being no warlock.
How dare you?
Roro, what you got for me?
Yes, I will just piggyback back off of the Witch Queen stuff. I am playing Witch Queen, Destiny Witch Queen right now. I have completed the campaign. I played on Classic though. I'm planning to go back and play on Legendary to get the I could do it with Dan. I could do the legendary campaign with Dan. That would be perfect.
Yes.
But yeah, it is definitely, without a doubt, at least for me, my favorite Destiny expansion to date. Everybody compares the expansions to the Taken King because
Mhm.
that is the bar that they set with the best that they can do. And Taken
Yes.
King was fantastic, but this I think definitely blows. Maybe it doesn't blow it out of the water, but it definitely is a step above that. As Dan said, the missions are meaty, and thank God these are replayable, which is something that they did in D1, but they didn't do in D2. So you can go back and grind out those missions and just see those story boots again. Like, people want to play the campaign. You spent this long working on this stuff. It's just such a waste not to be able to go back and enjoy them. So I'm glad that they're doing that. Trying to think of anything that Dan may or not have mentioned, but yeah, the characters that they introduce in this is super cool. I'm so excited for Dan to see the ending of it. But as you said, with the whole not knowing everything about Destiny, I think you'll still enjoy it though. I think it's still like the twists and turns that it takes you on. But as somebody who has kept up with the Destiny story, even when I'm taking a break, I'm still like reading up on it. It's just so awesome what they're doing with it, and I cannot wait for what's next. I don't want to say that like we just got the Witch Queen, but I'm just so excited for the future of the next story beat that they do.
And
I
actually,
mean, there's always like content drops. Like you're gonna have to get
Yeah.
raid ready pretty soon.
That's true. Oh my god, dude, the raid! I don't even know who the raid boss is going to be, which is so exciting. Oh my god,
Ooh.
so exciting, so exciting.
And Ro, I read up a bunch of story beats actually
Nice.
after playing that first mission because I was a little bit lost on a couple things. So like I caught myself up on some of the stuff like Osiris. I didn't know
Mhm.
about that whole ordeal. So
Mhm.
yeah, very
Some really
interesting.
cool stuff, and yeah, there's some really cool reveals that happen. Like another thing that people really don't like about the Destiny stuff is that they, instead of answering questions, they just add more questions to the story. And I feel like they answered a lot of questions with this campaign, which is super exciting. So we get some answers. Obviously, they added some more questions to it as well, but they finally answered some stuff after years and years.
You guys are making me want to jump back in.
Come on, it's cross-platform.
I don't have time, man. I don't have time.
I don't either, but just do it.
It made
True.
time.
True.
Christian, what you got for me?
I, much like Dan, have also been playing Horizon Forbidden West, and it
Nice.
has been dominating my afternoons. I had a 3-day weekend at work, and I spent pretty much the entire weekend playing this game. I'm about 30 hours in, probably a little over halfway through the campaign, probably somewhere around like 60% to maybe 75%, but I'd say there's probably more before, in between, or after the quests that I have to do now. And I'm having just like the most wonderful time doing my side quests and some of like the odd jobs here and there. I think if anything, like Zero Dawn, like existing in that world was awesome. I platinumed the first Horizon. Forbidden West, like much like how Rose said about Destiny, like this is the bar for what like open world games should be for Guerrilla. Like that world is awesome to do all these quests for, and like I'm loving like the lore dumps and kind of all the sci-fi stuff that's going on. Oh my god, the sci-fi stuff is the best part of that game. My only kind of main criticism of Horizon is that it really is not an RPG, or not the way at least Guerrilla thinks it's an RPG, and I mean that in like there are no meaningful kinds. This is the way I define RPG. An RPG to me is like having to make choices that like directly impact either your colorization of your character or they have some impact on the story. And Horizon does not do that at all, which is why I think it kind of fails in that RPG aspect. I'll give you two examples without spoiling. Is like in Zero Dawn, you would have like multiple places for Aloy to respond. With your kind of colorization of Aloy, you had like the option to respond with either like the brain for intelligence, the heart for emotion, or the fist to kind of like be like a bit more like bitey in your response. The game Forbidden West starts with that and then abandons it. Like I didn't see that come back for about 20 hours in my playthrough. And then I got into more side quests where like it came up twice more in between hours 20 and 30. And none of them did it make any kind of meaningful impact. And my other concern or criticism is that just like when I'm talking to people as Aloy, Like all the options are just essentially more lore dumps and more story about who these characters are, and I don't get more information about like who Aloy is or how Aloy feels about situations. It's just like these characters talking at me, which one, as Ro said earlier, is wonderfully animated. I want to add that it's also wonderfully written. The music is incredible, so the vibes are just like fantastic. I'm having so much fun like listening to all these people just talk to me. But then I also just don't. It doesn't make for like a very compelling protagonist, which is kind of like that main issue for me. But otherwise, like I love Horizon. Like it's so good. I'm trying to complete the side quests first because the side quests are like legit awesome. It leads to like some of the most beautiful moments in the game. Before I complete the actual main quest, and then hopefully by the end of the week, inshallah, hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be able to complete it so I can move on to Elden Ring.
So
Nice.
the music in Horizon's fantastic. Also in Destiny, Witch
Dude.
Queen, phenomenal.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've seen clips on Destiny's music. It goes hard.
The side quest thing is a good thing to know. I don't usually do side quests in video games, and I always try them because I was like,
Yeah.
because there's games like Ghost of Tsushima. I love the side quests in Ghost of Tsushima. Those like brought me into the world.
Interesting.
I love them so much. I felt like they're like little mini episodes, and I love them. And Red Dead 2, I think I did a lot of the side quests in, but
Yeah.
most of the time don't do that. But it's good to know that those side quests at least feel fun and add more to the world. So that's exciting.
So I'd go so far as to say like there's the side quest, and then there's a level below that's like the side to the side.
Oh, I know
quest,
what you mean,
which are, like these
Gather
errands.
some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But even the errands themselves like have story beats to them, where I'm actually enjoying doing some of these errands. And the side quests are like wonderfully written. They're varied enough that like none of it is ever boring. It's not repetitive at all. They're also vastly different. Yeah, I guess the gameplay loop is samey. Like you got to end up killing machines, or fighting other people. But like everywhere in between, like what you're actually doing for these people is so interesting. I cannot wait for Dan to actually journey into the West and see some of the stuff that happens in that game.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
So I have a question. Is this game? This is an obvious question, and it's a Google search away. But is this game M for mature? Is the tone mature, or is it?
I thought it was mature until saw commercials that said teen. I was actually surprised.
Interesting. Okay, just because I know. I mean, she's using primitive weaponry, and you just mentioned that you can fight people. So I was like, oh, is this like a mature game? Or I can't. But like,
I think
so
we-
it's.
I think
Go ahead,
because there's not a lot of sexual content or like language, I think usually violence is a lot more lenient in that regard.
Right.
There's no language, and more importantly, there's no blood. So
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
blood, you can get away with that.
Oh,
teen.
okay.
Yeah. When you're fighting the
Right.
humans, it's not like you're stabbing people in The Last of Us. It's
Yeah.
like you whack them in the head and they just fall over pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This Horizon is, I would say, is a lot harder than Zero Dawn. I'm struggling. I'm on normal difficulty, and I'm struggling with some of these encounters. Like these dinos give me that work. So keep that in mind, bro. Whenever you pick it up.
God.
And finally, I am playing Battlefront 2, as Dan mentioned. Great game, really, really impressive game too, visually and sound design. The game is just like I agree with you. Dan does not get enough credit. Playing that game, you are immersed in it. I mean, Dan, you're playing on the Series X. I'm mostly playing on my PC with all the settings cranked. It's a gorgeous game. It's an absolutely gorgeous game. Sound design, you're immediately immersed when you're playing it. So it's good fun. It's held up well. I don't know which one of us suggested to play it, but we just all decided to play Battlefront 2, and I'm glad we did because it is a good time. The game holds up really well, and the servers are still populated. We don't have any issues finding games, which is nice as well. And then an update from last week. I have been playing BioShock Remastered,
Wow.
and Christian. I'm
Cool
gonna-
opening.
Okay, so fucking awesome opening, right? The tone and the story immediately, I was like, this is somebody's reached in my brain of what I think would be interesting and has pulled out this. It checks all the boxes. Christian, I'm gonna have to hand you the L on this because BioShock holds up. It is a
Hold on.
fantastic
You're not
game.
done yet.
You gotta finish the game, man. Don't hand me the L yet. Finish the game.
But you said if I remember correctly, it was that whether or not the gameplay satisfies me, and the gameplay is.
We threw that out.
Did we? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So then I'm going to take back the L. I'm going to hold on to it for now. The game's fantastic. I'm having a great time with it. I'm having a really good time with it. I'm about I don't know how long the game is. I'm not looking up anything about it because I know it has a twist, and I did at one point know the twist because at one point I had no interest in playing this game. So my
Interesting.
friends at the time were like, I was like, oh yeah, tell me. I know it's Would You Kindly something. I know about that, but I've forgotten what the twist is, so I'm not looking it up, and therefore I'm not looking up how long the game is. So I don't know how far I am in it. I've done my first boss battle, this plastic surgeon guy, and I'm enjoying it. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Wow.
I can't say how well it holds up on console. Like I said, some of these older games, there's controller joystick, acceleration issues and all that stuff. I'm playing on mouse and keyboard, so it feels fast and fluid. It's a really good time, and yeah, the tone and the vibe of this game is so awesome. I really hope. My expectations for the movie are very low, but if they can capture this atmosphere, like this game is extremely atmospheric, and surprisingly, like pushes the envelope in a lot of ways that we don't see games do it anymore. Like the whole little sister thing, and some of the philosophical ideas that this game toys around with. It's big daddies everywhere. It's a great game. It's a really great game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm excited to see where it goes. So what's the bet? So I'm clear for when we check in next. What was the bet?
Dan, do you remember?
I don't remember.
That I think it was that Gage would like the game.
Yes, that you would.
Oh,
like
okay. So you think there's still a chance I won't like it, Christian?
I mean, personally, probably not. I think who knows? You're still pretty early on.
Okay.
Honestly, if you're only done the first boss, like you got a ways to go.
Man, I feel like that game just gets better as you go, though. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I like that.
Could be the rose-tinted glasses.
And maybe the whole, like, since you know part of what happens, or I don't know how much you know, but if
I don't remember anything. I just know that there's a big twist.
Okay. Well, that might taint your experience. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But yes,
Right.
the whole, the reveals that you get is just mind-blowing for me. That was,
I absolutely love the lore of this game, though. The vibe immediately, that intro, and it's good. It's really good. I'm really glad I tried this game because, it's exactly what I'm looking for. Topic of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Call of Duty is breaking its annual release tradition after 18 years. A major change in the formula can be expected as a result of the Xbox acquisition. So my question to you, ladies and gentlemen, what would we like to see from the Call of Duty IP over the next few years? Can this titan of a franchise be made to satisfy both consumers and the business? This product, product is the best word for it. I mean, that's how the suits see it. Has been expected to release once a year and to make X amount of sales, and community feedback be damned. But now we're seeing a change as a result of supposedly we're guessing, but probably is very likely as a result of the Xbox acquisition and Phil Spencer's influence. So what do you guys think about this? I mean, we've already talked about this briefly, so we're all pretty positive on the change. And what do you guys want to see going forward? So the Street Meat that I was going to mention earlier, I'm going to bring that up now. A Bloomberg article states that the Call of Duty title that a Call of Duty title is being co-developed by Treyarch and will release in 2023 to fill the gap of the mainline Call of Duty game that has been delayed that we talked about earlier. I'm going to connect this to a leak that industry insider Tom Henderson reported on all the way back in February of 2021, which is that there is currently a standalone zombies game that is being developed at Treyarch. So is this possibly a live service game that comes out and that is free to play and is a separate series that we see now released alongside? Does that mean Zombies gets taken out of the mainline franchises? But more importantly, what do you guys want from the Call of Duty franchise now that these big changes are coming to this? Do we think one COD game every 2 years and each studio there's 2 studios working on them, they each get 4 years of dev time? Is that something that we want to see? Personally, I'm in favor of that. I would love for developers to get all the time they need. That won't happen, obviously, but if they can get an extra year, I think that would benefit the title greatly. And it's an exciting time. the craziest thing about this entire acquisition is that I get to be excited about Call of Duty again, which is something I didn't think was going to happen
Right.
ever again. I've been franchise fatigued a very long time. Like we've mentioned in the podcast before, Modern Warfare 2019 was the first time I jumped back into the Call of Duty franchise excitedly. And then the next year they went to Cold War, which again, they got a year less time, went back to the old engine. It was a downgrade for me. So then I was immediately franchise fatigued again. So Christian, give me your thoughts on this.
Okay. The first place I go to is, which is like not a concern, but like a question here, is like, what does Call of Duty even mean anymore? Quote unquote. Like,
Right.
you know, what does Call of Duty mean to other people is my question, because it has always meant something kind of different. And I think now more than ever, that question kind of persists. And I'll give you an example. Like to many, like in the heydays of, you know, the 2010s, the early Call of Duty was like the multiplayer and that experience you get, you know, on Xbox Live or PSN, like chatting with like randos on the internet and like gaming all night long. To that extent, like Call of Duty still kind of is that, but it's grown to be much more so. There are so many people who have been introduced to Call of Duty who are playing it solely as a battle royale now. It is also a Warzone game.
Right.
For a while, Call of Duty was just the Treyarch games because people would skip the other ones because they wanted more zombies in their game. And maybe they tried out Sledgehammer's games and they played, you know, that zombies. That I think they had an iteration of that as well. So like, that's the question, right? That you kind of brought up, because there is going to be a rumored standalone zombies game. Like, how well received is that going to be? I think for the most part, people love zombies. Like, anecdotally, I can say that, you know, the people that bought Black Ops Cold War, even though they didn't like the campaign, they didn't like the multiplayer as much, still really much enjoyed the zombies because like it's always refreshing and it's always like fun.
Right.
Like that's like a thing you can do, right? But I think what I want out of Call of Duty is just for them to explore these kinds of niches and to really like hopefully give like more time to kind of make these products, these separate products, these Warzone multiplayer suites and zombie suites, more quality products and more diverse, and give me a reason to kind of stay on that platform. I think we kind of talked about it earlier. 2019's Modern Warfare remake, I thought was like a real like return to form, because it was like it's roots, right? It's boots on the ground, right? And that was like the big phrase everyone was throwing around for the whole year. But it worked because like it was awesome, and they really like refined what that gameplay was and what people liked out of it, which is like boots on the ground combat with like awesome like gun mechanics and awesome gameplay. That like I loved playing Modern Warfare 2019. I love the story. I would love to see campaigns come back in a more quality. Like Infinite Warfare's campaign was awesome with Kevin Spacey. Well, he's problematic.
Advanced Warfare, right?
Advanced Warfare, yeah. No, Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Warfare was a thing.
Advanced Warfare's Kevin Spacey. Ignore that. But Infinite Warfare's campaign was
Yes.
awesome because of like the elements it introduced. I want them to double down on this like war gray area stuff and actually give me an actual exploration of that they didn't give me in 2019 in a more meaningful way in the next Call of Duty. Like I would love to see that. But yeah, just nail what you're going for and then appease that audience by like continuing to support it and not abandon it when the next thing comes out. Now you want all your players to move over. If they can just kind of have these niches and support them that way, I think it's going to be really awesome for people who are trying to get back into COD or who still play COD.
Right. So to your point there about Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, I just want to mention I think at last I checked, I probably had about 4 days played in Black Ops Cold War. Maybe 4 hours of that was campaign. Or sorry, maybe 4 hours of that was multiplayer. So the rest of it was zombies.
Wow.
The rest of it was zombies. So to your point of people who play the Call of Duty games just for zombies, that's me. While the Cold War as a whole package was a step backwards, the zombies portion of that mode was definitely a giant leap forward. They added a lot of cool mechanics that I actually think would lend itself to its own game. The weapon rarities and upgrades and modding and all this stuff, and loadouts for zombies and all this cool stuff. So I want to just jump on something you said there, where what is Call of Duty? What does Call of Duty mean? And I think Call of Duty, what Activision has sort of made it and molded it into, is the premier casual experience. It's got a very low skill ceiling, right? You can be a cracked 13-year-old with crazy fast reflexes, but you're not gonna be any better than FaZe Clan, because whoever shoots first wins, right? It's a very premier, most of the time polished, smooth, casual multiplayer experience. So if Phil Spencer wants that, I mean, he can get that, and if anything, it'll only just be more polished if they get the extra year of development time. So, I mean, I think that's what Call of Duty is, and what it can be going forward. Now, can zombies coexist with that? I think it can. I think it's different enough. I think the four, I mean, Call of Duty World at War. Sorry, I mean, before that, the whole wave defense thing was few and far between, and then zombies came out, and it became a craze. Everybody loves it, right? And it's such a perfect formula. So I think that a standalone zombies game that exists, maybe even a standalone zombies franchise that exists along Call of Duty, could totally work. But I totally agree with you. I want more time. I miss Call of Duty campaigns, and and it's not something that is maybe a huge selling point in the community. They probably have their analytics of how many people actually play the campaigns, or finish them. But I agree with you. I know so many people who picked up Modern Warfare, and I was like, "Did you guys play the campaign?" And they're like, "Oh, no, I'll get around to it." I'm like, "It's 7 hours. Like, just play the thing. It's fantastic."
And it rocks, dude.
It rocks.
That clean house mission. Oh my god.
And that's the thing, is that it's never gonna do everything we want, and I think I sometimes get too high expectations for the story and the tone, because it is at the end of the day, it's a Michael Bay campaign. It always will be. But I would love to see. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'd love to see them double down on that tone, where it's like the multiplayer can be as fast and frantic as you want, but I want a gritty, sort of real experience. And we got hints of that with Farah's character, and the politics that go on with that, especially towards the end of the campaign with
Simon Riley,
with things that happen. Simon Riley, yes, whose entire personality is a balaclava that looks cool. Roshan, what do you want to see from the Call of Duty franchise going forward?
Oh boy. My experience with Call of Duty, I've never in my life bought a Call of Duty game. It's always been secondhand or through PS Plus or something, or like it's a free game and I just download it. And when I download it, I usually never play it. I just have it there in my library. Like for you, Gage, where you said medieval fantasy isn't your thing. Medieval fantasy also isn't my thing usually, but sometimes the game hits. But that's, I'm on a tangent now. But army stuff usually isn't my thing. So I usually just don't even look in the direction of Call of Duty when a new one comes out. So my honest answer, which is kind of a joke, Call of Duty would have to be a third-person action adventure for me to actually pick it up, but that's never going to happen. So what I would like from it is, and from what I'm hearing from you and Christian, is that the campaigns are good. I just never pick them up. And I'm trying to think of the times where I have looked in the direction of Call of Duty is when it kind of strays away from that World War II war thing, and with Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare, I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I might check it out. I never did, but I became interested in it. So I'm probably the worst person to ask, because I've never been really interested in Call of Duty, and they probably don't even care to attract me, because I probably wouldn't stick around long enough. But to get me interested is a good campaign, which from what I'm hearing they have done. I just have to give it a shot. And the multiplayer, I guess I don't like the low skill ceiling, because I really hate how frantic it is. It's like you said, how if you shoot first you win, and when I've been playing those games, for some reason sometimes I have shot first, and I'm still at the bottom of the leaderboard. But I just like a little bit more skill in the multiplayer stuff. I understand that's not what Call of Duty is. There's a certain type of gameplay that they're going for. So honestly, I do enjoy zombies. Like I said, my only experience with Call of Duty is at friends' houses, just playing with them. And zombies was always the staple of any sleepover back in high school. And I loved playing that with my friends. And so yeah, if they do a standalone zombie thing, that's definitely something that I would download and try. But as for like the mainline Call of Duty games, I honestly don't know what they would have to do to get me involved. But again, going off of what you and Christian were saying, maybe I should try a Call of Duty campaign based on what you're saying.
Can I just say too, to add, like the best, and just kind of speak to that point about like low skill like entry, which I think is true, but I think if you're playing alone, it kind of puts you at disadvantage, because you're not probably having that much fun just constantly dying.
Right.
I think the best thing about Call of Duty, and it's the way I enjoy these games the most, is that back when I did used to suck in COD 4 days, like joining a squad with my friends and just kind of shooting the shite, that's still a cuss word. I was trying to avoid
The shit.
shit. I'll say shit. I did it. I cussed on the show. Yeah, just shooting the shit with friends and like letting them like carry me most of the time. Like even if I'm performing bad or I'm just like having an off day, like I still have fun because they're
Right.
still kind of carrying me, and I'm just like focusing on conversation, just like playing with other people. I don't know if they can get that kind of atmosphere back. And again, Modern Warfare 2019 like somehow brought that magic back. They can do that again. It's
It's
gold.
like I said, you're absolutely right. It's the casual social experience, right?
Yeah.
All
that to say, Ro, I'd play with you and talk Nintendo with you while we shoot
Thank you.
balls.
I was going to say that might be the part of the equation that I'm missing because,
Right.
as I said, I played zombies with friends, loved it. Every time I'm playing multiplayer PvP, I am usually playing by myself, and I'm having a very bad time.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe it is a more social thing, like you guys are saying, that I just need to socialize and enjoy the game that way.
Now, the chances of things like this happening, I mean, it's slim, but it's bigger than it ever has been with this what is essentially a monumental shakeup to the formula. We know that in the early years of Call of Duty, that there was some prototypes for some far out there sort of ideas. There was a project that actually got into the pre-production phase, which was supposed to be a Call of Duty that takes place in Roman times. So they did toy around with these ideas really early on before whoever was in charge of Activision at the time, maybe it was Bobby Kotick, I don't know how long he's been there, realized that these were money makers and they needed to get one out every year. So early on, I think this was right before Call of Duty 4, so it would have been Call of Duty 3 era, 2006. It got all the way into pre-production. It was a Roman, like, melee-based third-person Call of Duty mainline game. They were gonna go totally balls to the wall out there, explore different time zones. So, like you're saying, Rashan, like, what's it gonna take for you? Time zones, yeah. Eastern, Pacific, all over the place, man.
I think that was what Sledgehammer was making before World War II or World War One, right? Or is that right? World War One? Was that their game?
Ooh.
Sledgehammer?
No.
Ooh.
Didn't
I
they
don't
make
think so.
Call of Duty World War
I think it was
One?
World War
Or
II.
World War II. Whatever. I don't know.
Sledgehammer made.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's 26 of them, Dan. There's
Yeah.
26 of them, so it's hard to keep track. So when you're saying, Rashan, like somebody like yourself,
World War
it would take some really experimental titles to get you into it. So maybe, again, slim chance, but a bigger chance than there's ever been. Maybe stuff like that does happen. Maybe they make a Call of Duty RTS. Maybe they make a Call of Duty third-person game, which I would love. I love the old
World
games.
Shooter.
Exactly, right. Which if this zombies game is real, we don't know that it's just maps of 4-player survival. Maybe it is a live service title that's a shared world, something like that. So, I mean, the possibility is there.
And like you said in the question, and like I was saying, is that a good idea to do? Like, is that a good idea to satisfy consumers and the business? I say probably not, because
Right.
I would say most of the Call of Duty fan base would be pretty pissed if they did a Call of Duty RTS or a Shedwood shooter or something like that. I might be
Right.
happy, but I'm just one guy who doesn't like Call of Duty. So
Right.
Now here's the thing. What if they try these games without using the mainline studios, right? Because Xbox now owns this IP, Certain Affinity, other places. Right. There's other places that could maybe do this, right? So something to think about. But before we get all onto that, Dan, what is your initial read on this? Again, we all seem to be pretty positive on the idea that they're taking a break. But what do you want to see from the Call of Duty IP over the next 5-6 years once we get into that acquisition?
Yeah, I mean, kind of similarly to you guys, like, campaign has always been like my favorite mode. Obviously, Gage zombies more so for you, but
Right.
like Christian, I totally agree with you. Campaigns have always been fantastic. Like in Infinite Warfare, for instance, great campaign. Advanced Warfare, despite Kevin Spacey ordeal, that was a bad ordeal, but obviously that was before
enjoyable
before we knew it. But it was
it was a good
very
performance,
enjoyable, yes.
regardless of the guy. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. So yeah, like the campaigns are what I would like to see them get back to, like making great again. Obviously, I haven't played Vanguard's campaign, so I can't really speak to that. And honestly, I haven't played Cold War's campaign either. But I, like you, Gage, you and Christian both, I enjoyed the Modern Warfare campaign as well. So the reboot. So hopefully they can continue to go back to that. I would love to see them go back to 2 years between games and 4-year dev cycles for Treyarch and Infinity Ward, and let Sledgehammer kind of either support them or do something else. I think that would be a great idea, Gage. Also, like, I think you touched on this as well, Christian. Like, I would love to see more original subgenres under the Call of Duty name. Like, we keep going back to Modern Warfare and then Black Ops. Let's do something else. Like, let's start a new brand of Call of Duty. Like, they started with Infinite Warfare and then they kind of just abandoned it and kind of left it at the wayside. I'd love to see them kind of experiment a bit more in that regard. Ro?
I just had a quick question. Have they ever done a Call of Duty outside of America or Russia? Or are those
Infinite
like
Warfare, I think, would be the only one which is interplanetary. But
okay,
Right.
aside from that, it's either based on history or it's a fictitious United States versus Russia. Yeah, it's always the same.
I guess Vietnam.
original Modern War. Yeah, Vietnam.
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, sorry. Yes, you're right. The original Modern Warfare was a Middle Eastern conflict.
Yeah.
It was Middle East.
But
and then-
but ended up at Russia again, right? Because you go through and then
Which
it still ends up at Russia. Yeah,
Russia right now, I guess it's kind of relevant.
Boy.
They're sitting on the border. Of,
it's not for no reason. Russia is they're kind of wilding out, and they have been for a while. Now when you say it was something that you just mentioned there, Dan, is taking chances. Is that unfortunately, before Vanguard was revealed, there was a lot of incorrect leaks and rumors that it was going to be an alternate history game, that it was going to be a World War II game, but if Hitler had won the war. I would love to see them do things like that, where it's like, if you guys want to stick to what you're good at, that's fine, but like take some artistic, chances, some risks. It would be. I'm totally all about. It's not everybody's cup of tea. I love alternate history. I think it's so fascinating. There was an HBO show that was it was being written and then it got canceled, but it was pretty much as if I think it was either the South won the Civil War or it was a stalemate, so that the United States was divided in two countries. What would a Call of Duty game look like that, where it's like you've got another American Civil War in like modern times, where it's like the southern states?
I would not do a Civil War Call of Duty game. That would be terrible to play multiplayer. I would, and that fan base can be pretty toxic. I think it would be pretty terrible for them to do something like that.
Yeah.
Is that toxicity going anywhere though? Like, I mean, you're gonna get it no matter what.
Yeah, the hope is that you curb that as much as possible and don't just like be complacent about it. It's one of the reasons why they had Black Lives Matter when you would start a Warzone or Modern Warfare 2019.
True. Okay. So I mean, we have to agree to disagree there. I think if you're an artist making a certain type of story, whatever. I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily condoning.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
If they want to do sort of something like that. Either way, I think alternate history and doing something like that where they're sort of taking chances and not just doing, oh, it's World War II again, but now we're focusing on this theater. It's like, all right, we've been there a million times. We know what happened. We've all seen this. We've all read about this, right? So,
and
if I'm being sorry,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
If I'm being legit, the one thing I do want to see from a Call of Duty campaign is just to get rid of all the patriotism. Because I think that can be too heavy-handed and it leads to the detriment of an actual nuanced campaign that questions my morality. Just focus on the morals of war, period, not just these conflicts between America and this whatever X country, or oh yes, we're Americans, and I don't know, that's a bit too much for my taste.
That was the other thing that I was going to ask, about has there been another location? I was also going to ask has there been another perspective besides US? I guess not.
So I mean, here's an off the top of my head pitch.
War,
what about a Call of Duty if they wanted to stick to their realistic settings? What about a Call of Duty game where you play as a French civilian caught in the middle of World War II? You don't play as America. You don't play as Germany. You're literally just a civilian who's caught in the middle of this war. And it's Call of Duty. It's got some sort of clever subtitle, and it's just about, like you said, the impacts of war. Totally, they could do so many different things like that instead of just good guys versus bad guys, right? And credit where credit's due. Battlefield tried to do something like this with Battlefield 1 with their little war story vignettes, right?
Which were great.
Which were fantastic, right? So imagine a whole campaign based around somebody has no allegiance to any sort of superpower, is just trying to get by. Or there's tons of things they could totally do like that. I agree. I would like to see them I'm definitely tired of the same tropes that we've been getting for 20 years now with this franchise.
My actual answer, and because I know we're running long, is just to bring back wager matches. There you go.
Hell
That's
yeah.
how you win. Bring back wager matches.
Bring back the Black Ops 1 unlock system, by the way. Let me buy the attachments I want to buy in the
pick
yeah.
10 system.
And
That was great.
but also like let me unlock the attachments in the order I want to unlock them. You know what I mean? Like that was the one where you earned money, and that was wager matches. You could do wager matches as well. You could do the wager challenges where it's like you put down X amount of money and you have to do the challenge. It reveals the challenge after the fact.
Yeah.
That was great though. That was cool.
Wager
Dan,
matches.
sorry, Dan, we cut you off. Sorry, finish your thoughts, please.
No, you're good. The only other thing I was gonna say, Zombies hasn't been released since, or they did a standalone Zombies game already that released back in 2009, and that game kind of collected like previous game Zombies maps and characters and such. I think it would be cool if they did something like that and just kind of like brought it in the current engine, a bunch of cool maps like that people are really love from the past and
Right.
characters, and bring them all in this one package. I think that would be fantastic.
It gave me a little hot and heavy, Dan. That was incredible.
Also,
was
I would like to also point out, Gage, you said the Civil War, putting aside the issues, obviously the terrible racial issues with the Civil War, but like also like that game probably would be awful to play. Like World War I games are already not that great to play. Like I feel like that would be even worse to play. Like what would you be doing?
I
in
mean,
that?
I was talking about a modern day.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
talking about a modern day alternate history, not Call of Duty 1865. Nobody wants to play that.
Right.
Oh, okay. I misinterpreted what you said. That okay, like kind of like a Man in the High Castle type deal. Where
Yes,
it's,
that's exactly what I was getting at.
Oh
Yes.
man, that changes
No.
everything. Yeah, that's
Yes.
interesting.
That's what I meant. Like an alternate, if that war had continued to this day, whatever. Anyways, so yes, we'd all like to see Call of Duty experiment, is what I'm getting from this conversation. We'd all like to see them take some creative risks and try and break away from the mold they've been establishing. And I think with the extra dev time, if this becomes a norm, a ritual that they do support a Call of Duty game for 2 years instead of one, maybe we could finally see some of this stuff come to fruition. And it's like I said, it's a strange time. Aside from all these crazy acquisitions, it's a weird time for myself to be excited about the future of Call of Duty because I had just written it off for so many years. But we need to end the show because it's the longest show we've ever done.
Literally.
And Dan's not going to let me hear the
Yeah.
end of it because
I
he
had
claimed I had fun too. We like to talk here, but Dan, he's not going to let me hear the end of it. So I'm going to end the show here. I'm going to do it with a nice, quick, tidy outro.
Yeah.
Thank
I'm
you
sure.
again to everyone joining us live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as podcast services everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, and Stitcher, and also Skype and Microsoft Teams and Google Hangouts. We are there every Wednesday, so make sure you join us there. Send us your Google Hangouts, send us your emails. Thank you to ManMeat for sponsoring this episode. Remember, Podcast PXN gets you 10% off your first order of your ManMeat of choice. Thank you to Roro, Christian, Daniel, and to myself for doing an excellent job hosting and another flawless episode. Gentlemen, it's been a treat. I love you all so dearly. Gamers out there, I hope you keep on gaming, having a good gaming. Just keep gaming.
Much love.
Elden Ring.
Kerbussy.
See ya.
Bro, silence.